So there's some neat stuff to come. But in the meantime, you may be thinking like, wait a minute, didn't we finish Sonic Mania? What are you doing here? This is weird. I didn't sign up for this. Suddenly the journey is longer than I thought it would be. Are you gonna make 10 more videos to complete it? And the answer to that is no. No, I am not going to be making 10 more videos, but only one. And that would have to be this one, since this one's where we show off all of the extra content. Which also involves just straight up dying right there. That is a pretty silly way to start the video.
But right here we're showing off Time Attack, and this is the Mississippi King, welcoming y'all back to the extra video of Let's Play Sonic Mania. And in this episode, we'll actually finish our playthrough of the game. I mean, we'll actually be done with Sonic Mania when this is all over. So, yeah, this is it. This is the final video. Right now, I just wanted to, show off Time Attack and just show off all of the things you can do with it. So, right here, we're playing in the Encore Mode version of Mirage Saloon Zone. You can select any stage, as you could see earlier, and your goal is to, of course, get to the goal as quickly as possible. And I'm probably just gonna speed this up since, we've already seen it. But right here, you can see that, your best time is ranked.
And you can, actually place in the leaderboards if you're good enough. And you can save a replay of it, which can serve two purposes. Well, I mean, it also allows for others to view your replay if you place in the leaderboards and see how you got your time. And I always love that feature. That's pretty great. I love it when they give you the option to pick that, to save a replay and actually view it. So let's do that, why don't we? One other thing you can do with these replays is you can actually race against them as a ghost. So, you'll have the ghostly version of the character you're playing as, the replay that is, and it will imitate exactly what you did in that, and meanwhile you need to beat that ghost. And I love it when games give you that option. I just love being able to race ghosts. That sounds very weird if taken out of context. But you can use that to, I think, provide some dynamic feedback as to how you can improve your time. But I'm not a huge fan of time attack modes in general. They're alright, but normally I just don't really care to try them out. I just wanted to show it off that there is in fact a time attack mode, and it's pretty good. They made all of the right decisions in making it. It's everything I'd want a time attack mode to be. You can select any level, you can save replays, you can view the replays, you can view others' replays.
And right here, I'm actually going to race off against a ghost. Now this was against my best at time, so let's see how I can do. It's pretty easy to go very fast as Ray, as long as you know what you're doing. It takes a lot of skill. But as you can see, there's an icon that indicates the general vicinity of where your ghost is, and it's also semi-transparent, and it doesn't interact with you in any way whatsoever. It just shows the path that it took. So that's pretty cool that they'd add this feature. I love it when games do that. It offers the most dynamic feedback on how you can improve your time. And it looks like I wasn't successful. Oh well.
I guess that's about it for Time Attack. So, I mean, you can select regular or Encore mode versions of these stages, so it isn't just for Encore mode. You can choose, regular Mania mode if you want. But You can also choose competition, however, I haven't got a functioning second controller, so yeah, that's out of the picture. But what I want to show off would be the extras. And the first up would be the Mean Bean Machine. You can actually play that as a mini-game, and it's a fun little distraction, so I figured I may as well show off one round of this. Specifically, you both play best at 2 out of 3, and you can play with a second player or against the CPU. And since, as I've said before, I haven't got a second controller, it's against the CPU. The highest level, which means that it's going to be moving pretty fast, so you'd best watch out for that. And it can be pretty difficult to make split-second decisions, and it's not looking good so far. I am pretty sure I'm going to fail this, unless I can pull something amazing off, which, you know, has happened before. It's not impossible. I just need to stay focused and keep playing the game, and as long as you can get a steady string of things you clear, then you should be alright. You'll want to just put as much of a burden on your opponent as possible. Of course, for every 4 actually that you get to touching each other in one color, that clears them out. Okay, I seem to be turning the tables right here. Because if I can just get a good combo going, like right there, then I can turn things around and put a burden on him. See, now my opponent's losing. This can be a pretty intense game. And he lost. Yep, because I managed to turn the tables. That right there is some puzzle game mastery, folks. I don't know how I ended up getting so good at puzzle games, because I used to suck at puzzle games as a kid. And I also ended up glitching a puzzle game. They ended up phasing together. They ended up, like, merging. I somehow managed to get 2 beans fused together, like, inside others. Oh dear, is nothing immune to my ability to glitch everything I touch? It's a puzzle game. How am I able to glitch a puzzle game? This is ridiculous. I feel that I'm the world's best playtester that nobody's heard of. Of course, then again, I don't know that playtesters in general are heard of. Like, who's the last playtester you heard of? I mean, I certainly can't name any famous playtesters. If you can, then good for you, but yeah, I think they don't tend to be particularly famous. And it feels like I'm gonna lose this part, this, I guess, round. So it's like best 2 out of 3 rounds. I still can't believe that. I just ended up glitching a puzzle game. I mean, it's possible. Proton John certainly had some experience in that department. I'm a freaking glitch magnet. I mean, I did say that Proton John was a big influence on me, but I didn't expect that it would rub off in the realm of being able to glitch everything I touch. Of course, if I were a playtester, realistically they wouldn't pay me enough for this stuff, for all of the glitches I'd unintentionally discover. It's ridiculous just how much I can end up glitching everything I touch, no matter the context. I don't know how I keep doing it. It's just, I seem to be able to run into glitches all the time. Now this is where it's at. This is what you'll think of when you think of Sonic Mania. This is what everyone thinks of when they think of Sonic Mania, isn't it? Of course not. It's just a fun little distraction to, keep you busy for the time being. There's nothing much that's particularly interesting about that. And looks like I'm gonna lose again. I'm not looking particularly good at this point. I'm screwing up quite a bit, and yeah, I think I'm pretty much done for at this point, unless something amazing can happen, which it doesn't look like that's about to happen. So, well, it's been fun, but I guess that's it. Or maybe there's a small chance, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath. This has probably gone on too long anyway, so we're done with that. So next up would be the DA Garden. And the DA Garden is just a sound test. You can play all of the music tracks in the game, and that's it. It's got all of the tracks in the main game, so that's pretty good. And some tracks that were added for the Encore Mode DLC. That's all fine and dandy. There's a spinning island in the background that is shaped like a Sonic head, but yeah, that's it. Nothing else to it. So next up, I guess, would be the Blue Spheres game. Now, before I show off some of the items, actually, you can select the staff credits, but that's nothing that's particularly interesting. Now, with the Blue Spheres game, basically the original Sonic Mania actually started off with these Blue Sphere games that you play whenever you hit a checkpoint with 50 rings or so. With the Encore Mode DLC, that's still the case. However, it goes away when you collect all gold emblems. I think maybe silver emblems, but something like that. I'm not quite sure on that because by the time I downloaded the Encore Mode DLC, I already got all gold medals, so I don't really know whether it's all gold medals or just all medals, period. So this is old footage recorded back before Sonic Mania had the DLC, before the Encore Mode DLC, so you can enter certain stages with it, and they actually went through the trouble of designing sprites for Mighty and Ray, and that's pretty cool. But what's more is this selection of Blue Spheres is actually different from the ones that would show up in the main game, because the quote-unquote original ones aren't actually the original ones from the base game. Instead, there's something else entirely, and you also have the option of selecting Mania Blue Spheres. And these ones are unique because they add all sorts of different spheres. The green ones you have to run over twice in order to clear them. And there are purple ones that warp you to other spheres. That's pretty neat. I don't really play the Mania Blue Spheres all that much, but, you know, for people who like that sort of stuff, they can go right ahead. It offers some unique challenges with the unique spheres that you can run into. It's neat that they fleshed it out a bit more, however it's kind of meaningless in the grand scheme of things. They don't get you anything.
And now we've reached the footage of me getting the last gold emblem, the last gold medal. So with this, I'm figuring just speed it up because, I mean, it's not really that interesting. And right here, this is basically what it was like. And this was the last gold medal. And so, of course, I did this back before the Sonic Mania Encore Mode DLC came out. So once again, it's old footage. And I just felt like showing this off as well. But after this is over, we'll be getting into some other stuff, namely the options. But right here, I just wanted to show this off. It's actually a very simple stage, because there's nothing much to it. See, we're down to like one ring now. So just need to collect that, and we are star free. And it's speeding up really quickly, so it looks very intense. But of course, as I've said, this is post-commentary, so I end up getting them down.
So now it's time to check out the options. The first up, we have the video option, which allows you to apply certain filters. I'm not really sure why you'd want the CRT options or whatever, because it's like, this isn't played on a CRT. What's the point of, like, pretending that, like, it's the mid-90s or whatever? That is kind of silly. It's silly, like, that they would include that, but there are some other things, some other filters. But you can also change the language and check the controls. I'm not sure why you'd need to, like, check the controls, because it's very simple, but, you know, in case you get confused over a 2-button control scheme, there you are. And next, we're going to show off the game options, the secret options. You unlock these with the different emblems you collect from the Blue Spheres bonus stage, and you can change Sonic's ability. You can add an Knuckles mode. You can turn that on, which I've shown off in part Knuckles, but you can choose that with any character whatsoever. And you can change a Sonic's ability between his Mania ability, which is the drop dash, his ability in Sonic CD, which is either my favorite or my second favorite. It's the Super Peel Out, and it allows him to speed along the ground. You may think, well, what's the point of this instead of the Spin Dash? However, what I seem to have noticed is that the Super Peel Out is faster than the Spin Dash. At least it seems like it's faster. So it's like if you want a good burst of speed, then you can do that. And there's also, of course, Debug Mode, but I'll show that off later. And as Super Sonic, you can actually do the Super Peel Out as well, but instead it just looks like Super Sonic is just flying forward or whatever. And that's neat that it includes that. I like being able to play with Sonic's Sonic CD ability. And you can also choose the Insta-Shield from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is my least favorite of the bunch. It allows him to gain some brief invincibility periods, so you can use that to, like, get some free hits in. It can be moderately useful, and again, I like it more than as a kid, because as a kid I just felt it was kind of a placeholder, and I still kind of think it is. But it's not terrible, it's serviceable. I don't use it that much, but it is there, it's not bad. And now we can show off Debug Mode, which allows you to create all sorts of different things, and you can end the level early, you can collect rings that way, you can put in super rings, and they don't actually send you to a special stage, they just give you 50 rings, which is strange. That's kind of weird that it wouldn't send you to a special stage, but whatever. It's a good way to rack up lives, of course. Not that I really need to rack up lives, because this game is pretty easy. And you can also turn off the time limit. And what that means is that what happens is that when you reach 10 minutes, you won't get a time over and die from that. So you'll still be kept alive. That's worth keeping in mind if you like it. Of course, that can be a double-edged sword, as I've kind of shown in part Knuckles, because there was a point where I ended up having to get a time over because I got stuck on a wall. That doesn't really make any more sense in context either. So, next up I want to show off the Metal Sonic fight. Now y'all may be thinking, why? You've already shown it off, like 3 times in fact. Oh, twice, what am I saying? But still, you may be thinking, like, why are you showing this off? And it's because there are actually some significant differences from the Encore Mode DLC. So this is actually old footage recorded before I got the Encore Mode DLC. So the first difference would be that the Mecha Sonics that Metal Sonic summons, they don't actually shoot things back up at Metal Sonic, which can make it a bit of a pain to fight. You instead just have to bounce them at Metal Sonic. And the second and more significant difference would be that the third phase of the fight isn't actually against Giga Metal Sonic or whatever that's called. Instead, you fight against Metal Sonic as you're chased by a wall of spikes, and this is quite a bit easier than in the Encore Mode DLC, because you can just keep wailing on him and not have to worry about anything, because if you get hit by the wall of spikes, you can use your invincibility frames to pick up all of your rings, because it will just gather them for you, and you'll be scot-free. And you don't got to worry about taking any hits. It's very easy in this version. It's actually a bit tricky in the Encore Mode DLC, but yeah, that's it. It's pretty hilarious just how easy it is, actually. And that's something that I find very hilarious, that they would actually, like, think that, oh, we'll just have a wall that catches all of your lost rings for you, and that's supposed to be a challenge. Like, no, it's not a challenge, guys. You get the rings back. How's that difficult? Another difference with the Encore Mode DLC is that in the final boss, you actually destroyed the bottom cables to hold it up that would electrocute you, and that way it made it quite a bit easier in that, because like then you could just keep spin dashing into them. So by instead making it so that you destroy the top cables, it made it quite a bit more tricky. Here we are in Oil Ocean Zone Act 2, and of course y'all may be wondering, like, what are you doing here in Act 2? Didn't you already show that off twice? And to that I say, yes, I did indeed show it off twice. However, there is one thing that I missed. That would be the location of the secret submarine. And if you know where you're going, then you can end up finding it, and it will reward you with some good stuff. It's not really hugely significant, but it is still kind of neat. I do feel that it is kind of worth showing off, and I'm playing as Ray right now because, of course, playing as Ray is just so much of a joy because he can just speed through things with his glide ability, and it can make playing through these levels very easy, and he's just a straight-up great character to play as. He's probably one of my favorite things about the Encore Mode DLC. He's certainly a lot better than Mighty, I find. And plus, I've shown off Sonic for like all of the other stuff, so it's like, why not just show off this? I mean, granted, I kind of had to show off Sonic to like show off the abilities that he can have, so I mean, there is reason for that, but still, I wanted to ensure that, like, it's not just Sonic that gets the spotlight in this episode. And it seems I'm lost. I can't seem to find wherever that secret sub is. This is getting a bit embarrassing, actually. Why am I having so much trouble finding this? I used to be able to find it no problem, and now I'm just struggling with it so much. In fact, I found it in my first playthrough, the one that I had to scrap because I found out that I was not actually recording it. Yeah, I showed it off there, but like, because I had to scrap it, you know, I just ended up not being able to show it off, so instead I'm having to save it for an extra video because I didn't get to show it off here. Which, you know, is kind of annoying that I'd have to do that, but whatever. Actually, I was debating initially whether to show it in the first place, because it's not a major thing, it's not like a huge deal, but still, it is pretty neat. I'd like to show it off, and right here we actually found it, so hooray, you can find some cool things like an extra life and some things that are very helpful. It's pretty convenient to have all of that. And well, that's it, folks. We are done with Sonic Mania entirely. We are completely finished. No more videos. This is it. We've done it. So next up, I'm going to look back into continuing my Mega Man X series of videos so that we can get further in that. But at the moment, we're basically done, and I haven't really got anything planned for the future after my Mega Man X playthrough is fully uploaded. I think I'll just move on to X2 anyway. This has gone on too long. We'll talk more about that later. See y'all then. This is the Mississippi King signing out.